Hey, good morning. Liberty North AP Dual Credit Psychology. This is Mr. Davis. So this is the first hour live stream, and it'll be short today. If you have any questions that you want to ask, just go ahead and chat me, and then I can answer them at the end of the stream, or I can also send them out via Twitter, which I'll send out the practice question via Twitter when we're done, okay? So up on the board behind me is what we're gonna do today. So we're just gonna review the case of Carol, your in-class vocab, and then I've got a practice question, Unit 1 quiz question up here, and then we'll do an EC activity, okay? Again, if you have any questions or any time, just chat me. I'll answer those, and then I'll also put some information on Twitter once we're done at the end of the day, okay? All right, so case of Carol, a lot of you have already turned that in, okay? So again, go to your Canvas, go to the class, go to assignments, and go to Unit 1 assignment, and then click on there. And again, that's where you're going to be posted every unit, what you need to have done, which is going to be the same thing. You need to do your AP notebook work, you need to do your lab, you need to do your in-class vocab assignment, and then you have the quiz, okay? So case of Carol, there's a link to there where you can read Carol. You can do it on a Google Doc. So I have students turning in basically two ways. I have a Google Doc that they've shared with other people, and they're doing it in a group or by themselves, and they're just sharing it with me. I also have students who are doing it in their AP notebook, which is a good idea. They're doing it on paper, and then just take a picture of it and send it to me. I actually have a lot of students, especially in my later hours, doing that, which is actually a very good thing to do. That way you can handwrite it, but you can also have it in your AP notebook as an example to apply the perspectives if you need help. So you can take a picture of that. You don't need to rip it out. Just take a picture of it and then, email it to me. And then I have some people just doing it on a sheet of paper, and they're turning that in, or they're just taking a picture of it and sending it to me. Okay. So the assignment has already been on, or the lab's already been on your assignment. So read case of Carol. Give me one example of each of the 5 perspectives. Over the last 2 days, we've been doing that in class, so you should be good. Okay. All right. Any questions on Carol? Okay, if there are, then put them in the chat. Okay, then your vocab assignment. Okay, so at the end of each unit, you're going to have a vocab assignment that you need to do. All right, you can use the chart, or you don't have to use the chart. You can do it in groups. You can do it by yourself. Okay, but you need to pick. You're going to pick a topic. But this unit, I've given you the topic of psychology. Then you need to find 8 vocab terms, define and apply each one. Okay, so define it either from the book or your own definition, and then tell me how it applies to the topic of psychology. Okay, again, we talked about the best way to do that is to don't repeat the definition when you apply, and maybe try to find an example of that. Like we talked about, we used example of behaviorism. Define that in your definition would probably be best. So behaviorism is considers environmental factors and experiences as it relates to human behavior. And then, don't restate the definition, but just give me an example of that, either from Carol, from your own life, or from the book. There are tons of examples in the book. This is where reading the book would come in handy. Okay. Now, if you do it in groups, remember you got to divide the work up equally, because again, even though you're doing it as a group, for the lab and for this, I'm going to grade you individually on your contribution and your accuracy. Okay, so you need to identify who's writing what, either by different colors or by name. Either one of those would be fine. Okay, and you can get the vocab assignment to me the same way. You can put it on a doc and share it with me. Only one person needs to share with me. I already had last night, some students did it in their AP notebook. They just took a picture of it and then they emailed it to me. And then I've also had I think I had students working on it, and they just said they're just going to give me this sheet of paper. And I told them, if you get it done, just take a picture of it, send it to me. Okay. So whatever's easiest for you, but remember those are due by Friday. Okay. So all of your Unit 1 assignments are due by Friday, which that's it. And then you'll be using your AP notebook on the quiz. Okay. Any questions there? Okay. All right. So over here let's talk about your Unit 1. Now, again, let me lay down the parameters here. Okay, and this is the thumbnail picture. Okay, but again, you're going to be taking the Unit 1 quiz as a class. Okay, as kind of a guided practice so that we can kind of learn what we're doing here. Plus, I'll be gone on Friday for tennis. So each class is going to have 2 questions. I'm going to draw them from your 5 AP learning targets. I'll draw 2. Okay. And then your job is to have each class is going to create 1 doc for the first question, 1 doc for the second question, and everybody's going to contribute to both, and you're going to complete the answer. Okay. But here's kind of what you're going to be doing. So I drew AP learning target number 1. All right. Which obviously then removes that from your selection for the quiz on Thursday and Friday. Okay. All right. So the first part is going to be to answer the AP learning target completely. Okay. So answer the question or do what they ask you to do. Now, normally I'm not going to include the learning target because you have those on Canvas. You should have those in your AP notebook. Okay. You also have a paper copy on your desk, but just for today, I've got it up here. Okay, so learning target number 1 is recognize how philosophical and physiological perspectives shaped the development of psychological thought. Okay, all right, so you're going to answer that question completely. Okay, we've already answered that. So again, you obviously need to include the ancient history behind philosophy and physiology and that they then combined. Okay, so philosophy, we started at 450 BC. Physiology, you could actually start with 1500 with the ancient Egyptians. You can go back all the way to 8000 BC. Or you could just basically say, physiology was heightened in the Age of Enlightenment. There's several dates you can use for physiology. Okay, but in the 1600s, during the Age of Enlightenment, these 2 subjects combined to create psychology as a subject. Okay, then you need to talk about how philosophy is the study of the mind. Physiology is the study of the body. Okay. And those basically combined to create psychology, which is, the scientific study of human behavior and thought, the brain. Okay. Use that definition there. All right. Okay. So this is a pretty short one. So recognize how philosophy and physiology shape the development of psychology. So they're ancient relatives of psychology, however you want to answer that there. Again, with every learning target, there's generally more than one answer, but just make sure you completely answer it your way or with your information. Okay, now, once you answer it, then you've got 3 other tasks. Okay, so then you need to utilize 5 different vocab terms. Okay, define and apply. Okay, so then you're going to go down to your AP notebook and you're going to pick 5 vocab terms. All right, you're going to define them and then you're going to apply them to this question. Okay. All right, and you guys can talk and discuss, there's a lot of different vocab terms that could be used, but you just need to go down and find the ones that you think you could easily apply to the question. Okay, then you're going to pick 2 names, 2 historical figures from your name section. Okay, and you're going to define and apply them. Okay, so basically you're just going to identify them and then you're going to tell me how they relate. So obviously you could do your historical philosophers, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Hippocrates. You could do Darwin. For biological, there's a lot of names there. You could do Wundt because again, he was a physiologist, right? And he created the first lab. Most of your historical figures in Psych were doctors, philosophers, or physiologists. Okay, so you could use that. And then lastly, you're going to pick 2 perspectives in Psych, define and apply, okay, to the question. So you want to probably pick 2 perspectives that you could easily apply to philosophy or physiology. Okay, so that might be biological perspective. Okay, it might be cognitive perspective since it's kind of the study of thought. It might be structuralism and functionalism because they were the first 2 early theories in psychology. Okay, all right. So this is basically what you're going to be doing. You're going to be accessing, hopefully you have the information because your AP notebook should be completed. So you have the learning targets answered, you have your vocab done, your historical figures done, and your perspectives done, okay? And then you're going to be using it. So always on the quizzes, you're going to have multiple parts. The first part is always going to be to answer the learning target completely in any way that you choose, okay? Then you're going to have to always use vocab, all right, define and apply. And then here, I could even add the longest question will have all of these 3 plus brain structures. But sometimes I might just put brain structures in here, okay? But these are what your quizzes are going to look like, okay? And again, so the task for tomorrow, which you will do as a class, is you're going to have, I'll pick AP Learning targets, 2 of them, either 2, 3, 4, or 5. And you're basically just going to be doing the same thing, okay? So you have an overall answer, which hopefully you have done on the learning targets. Okay, so hopefully that's just a matter of kind of maybe copying down, refreshing, kind of, cleaning up what you've written down in your learning target. Okay, then you're going to access your vocab section. You're going to try to look through that quickly and figure out, what 5 vocab terms could I easily apply to the question. Find 2 historical figures I could easily apply, and then find 2 perspectives that I could easily apply. Okay, now this does not have to be written in essay form. It doesn't have to be written in paragraph form. You can bullet it. You can put a chart in here, just as long as you specifically answer. Like, you can't stick the whole perspective chart in here, okay? You got to pick 2, define and apply it, okay? Same thing with the names, and same thing with your vocabs, okay? So you got to identify the terms, okay? And which is where then hopefully you can see where practicing this is going to help. It's going to come in handy, okay? All right, especially that defining and applying. Okay, so it all kind of gets to the point that I want you to learn to apply the information, okay, to critically think about the information and apply it. Okay, and then one thing I would do is make sure that when you're taking the quiz that you underline. Okay, so in your answer to part 2, underline your 5 vocab terms. Underline your 2 historical figures. Underline your perspectives, okay? Make them stand out, make them clear. So a lot of students will highlight them, or you'll underline them, and they'll even number them. Here's my first vocab term, here's my second, here's my first name, my second, my first perspective, and my second perspective, okay? All right, and that's pretty much what they're gonna look like, okay? And then there might be some extra credit at the end, which I'll be working on today, okay? All right, if you have any questions, chat me, but here's your extra credit assignment for today. You can email me the answer, okay? All right, so I have a sheet of paper and just something to write with, because you're just going to write down 4 numbers, okay? So the extra credit answer is a 4-digit number, and I think if you get it, you're going to know, okay? All right, so you just need to write down the first number that comes to your mind, okay? So this is a priming activity. I'm going to flash you some stimuluses. Access your unconscious mind. And what I've got is I got 4 pictures here. Each one represents 1 number, okay? And it is a number 0 through 9, okay? But you need to write down the first one in order as I go, okay? So first number that comes to mind, write it down. First number comes to mind, write it down. First number comes to mind. Write it down. And first number that comes to mind, write it down. Okay? All right. So you can either give it to me tomorrow at class, or you can email it to me. But you're going to email me a 4-digit number, correct? And you will know if you have the correct number, okay? So it's in your unconscious mind. So hopefully through the priming activity, we got it, okay? But just email me that. We have any questions? Are we good? Not seeing anything. Okay. All right. So again, remember, make sure your AP notebook is cleaned up. All right. Get all your requirements done. Make sure you have your case of Carol sent to me, your vocab assignment sent to me by Friday. Okay. And then just be ready for your quiz. All right. Okay. If you have questions, email me. Have a good day.